All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how Arup, which, as you know, is a massive global engineering powerhouse, is completely transforming their learning and development. We're talking about taking a traditional, kind of sleepy HR function and turning it into a literal revenue-generating engine. If you've ever wondered how massive organizations turn required training from a chore into a highly strategic weapon, you are absolutely in the right place.
So let's just jump right in with the ultimate high-stakes question, right? When you're building the world's most complex infrastructure, how do you mathematically ensure your teams don't make catastrophic, incredibly expensive errors? We're talking about those professional errors in design or execution that carry massive financial and reputational costs. You really can't just cross your fingers and hope for the best. You have to architect excellence from the ground up. To figure out how they do it, we're going to follow this blueprint today. We'll start with the Arup Business Challenge, then look at the strategy map blueprint, architecting the learning engine, making you skills stick, and finally, measuring real business impact.
Okay, kicking things off with part one, the Arup Business Challenge, and really the sheer stakes of modern engineering. You know, there's a really stark contrast between the old reactive way of doing HR training and what Arup is actually doing now. They are totally moving away from just, counting the hours people spend sitting in a classroom. Instead, they're stepping into this role of proactive performance consultants, where the absolute primary goal is operational excellence. Because think about it, modern projects are wildly complex right now. Combine that with losing your top-tier experts to retirement? Yeah. Formalizing knowledge transfer isn't just nice to have, it is literally a survival mechanism to stop those million-dollar professional errors. Clients expect flawless execution, and frankly, you just can't deliver that if your teams aren't uniformly skilled. Which brings us to a quote from the source material that really hits the nail on the head regarding this entire mindset shift. It says, "The operational excellence agenda is not merely an HR initiative. It is a strategic imperative. Training is no longer an afterthought here. It's about empowering teams to execute integrated multidisciplinary solutions and do it flawlessly."
Moving right along to part two, the strategy map blueprint, or the architecture of success. So how do they actually build this out structurally? Well, Arup brought in Kaplan and Norton's execution premium framework. Think of this as the master blueprint. It directly connects what an employee learns to how much money the company actually makes. It's their way of proving that learning isn't just some soft, feel-good metric. It is the bedrock of business execution.
And it works from the ground up. You literally cannot reach step 4, those financial wins, like cutting down nonconformance costs or boosting win rates, without first locking in step 1, the learning and growth foundation. That foundation is what powers step 2's internal processes, like risk management. And that in turn satisfies the customer in step 3 because you're delivering amazing projects. It is a perfect logical chain reaction.
All right, into part 3, architecting the learning engine, which is all about building the actual capability to execute. Now, Arup doesn't just sit around guessing what kind of training people need. They are triangulating hard, cold data. We're talking project postmortems, risk registers, intense stakeholder interviews. They refuse to just send out a single survey and call it a day. They actually dig into the financial data on project overruns to pinpoint the exact performance gaps that are bleeding money. And here is the absolute game changer, the mental shift that makes this work. They treat every single learning request like a business problem that needs solving. Before they approve any course, they ask the tough questions. What is the measurable outcome here? What's the cost if we don't do this? And honestly, is learning even the right fix, or is this actually just a broken process? You can see how this plays out in their Project Lifecycle Academy. It meticulously maps out how an employee levels up over time. You go from being a graduate focused on basic quality assurance, all the way up to a director mastering really complex client relationships and portfolio management. At every single stage, you are learning exactly what the company needs you to execute right then. Which leads us to part 4, making new skills stick, otherwise known as the glue of learning transfer. Because let's be real, delivering the training is literally only half the battle. We've all been to those workshops where you take a bunch of notes and then completely forget everything by Monday morning, right? Arup simply cannot afford that. If an employee doesn't actually change how they work on the job, the company just paid for a really expensive vacation. Without transfer, learning is just a sunk cost. To make absolutely sure this knowledge sticks, Arup literally forces managers to get involved both before and after the training. Plus, They require learners to prove their new skills on real, live, action learning projects. You're not just passing a multiple choice test, you have to apply what you learned to an actual live task with structured mentor feedback. They also lean heavily on peer groups and on-demand digital tools, so the information is right there exactly when you need it.
And finally, Part 5, Measuring Real Business Impact, where we prove the actual ROI. Because at the end of the day, the executive sponsors, they want to see the numbers. Arup uses the Kirkpatrick Phillips 5-level evaluation model, moving way, way past those simple, did you like the workshop surveys. They go all the way to step 5, calculating the exact financial return. By level 4, they are looking for direct links to that strategy map we talked about. Did non-conformance costs actually go down? Did our bid win rate go up? That is exactly how you prove L&D is a massive revenue driver.
Now, as you can probably guess, rolling a system like this out globally does not happen overnight. They use a super methodical, phased 12-month roadmap. They spend the entire first 3 months purely on discovery, assessment, and getting buy-in before they even touch the curriculum design. From design to pilot to a full global rollout, the whole process is incredibly deliberate.
There's a concluding thought from the case study that really perfectly captures this whole transformation. It says, Arup University is not just a place of learning, it is the engine room of Arup's success. L&D is no longer some sleepy back office. It is the high-powered engine keeping this entire global operation profitable and flawless, with the goal of making this a fundamental, highly visible part of their business execution strategy by 2026. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question for your own organization. Are you treating your team's training like just another administrative checklist? Or are you architecting it to be the very engine that drives your profitability and excellence? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into Arup's execution premium strategy. See you next time.
Hello, my name is Victor M. Romo. I'm going to outline the engine of excellence, how Arup is turning learning into a strategic profit driver. The idea is to outline a strategic 3-year initiative for the engineering firm Arup to enhance its business performance through a specialized learning and development framework. By adopting the execution premium model, the famous model architecture from Kaplan and Norton, the organization aims to bridge the gap between high-level strategy and daily project delivery across its complex global structure. The curriculum focuses on building critical competencies in project management, commercial awareness, and risk mitigation to reduce professional errors and increase profit margins. Learning is structured around the entire project lifecycle, using a mix of digital simulations, workshops, and on-the-job training to ensure skills are effectively applied. Ultimately, the strategy transforms the training department into a strategic engine designed to improve client satisfaction and maintain Arup's competitive edge in sustainable development. Progress will be rigorously measured through financial and operational metrics to prove the direct return on investment for these educational programs at Arup University. Instead this, let's share some information, a presentation on the screen. Please take a look at the opening introductory video so you can grasp a little bit more on the context that I am referring to. So, driving operational excellence, the engine for an execution premium at Arup. For over 75 years, Arup has been defined by total design, a philosophy that integrates diverse disciplines to solve the world's most formidable engineering challenges. However, as a global collective operating across a dense matrix of regional offices, and global practices, Arup faces a modern organizational crisis: matrix complexity. In such a vast system, maintaining consistent quality and operational standards across borders is not guaranteed. To remain agile and borderless, Arup is remaining and reimagining the operational excellence learning manager role. This is not a traditional HR function anymore, tucked away in the back office. It is a strategic bridge designed to connect high-level corporate ambition with ground-level project execution. It ensures that the firm's 75-year legacy of excellence is translated into every project delivery, transforming a complex global structure into a unified high-performance machine. So let's review some takeaways about Arup, profit margin and reputation. So I was reviewing the pressure matrix, converging forces on project delivery. Takeaway 1: moving from support function to execution engine. Most organizations treat learning and development as a support function, a mere HR function, a discretionary benefit for employee engagement. Arup is flipping the script by adopting the Kaplan and Norton execution premium, which I highly know of, framework. In this model, learning is the direct driver of business performance, providing the engine that powers the entire strategy map. This shift is intentionally counterintuitive. Rather than focusing on learning for its own sake, Arup University targets the execution premium, the measurable value gained from superior strategy execution. By aligning L&D with financial and internal process objectives, the firm ensures that every hour spent training contributes to project margins and operational discipline. Arup University is not just a place for learning, it's the engine room of Arup success. So I was saying, let's redefine L&D from support function to a strategic engine. Let's review a takeaway 2: the high cost of the invisible error. In high-stakes engineering, the most dangerous costs are often invisible until it is too late. Professional errors in design or planning lead to non-conformative and non-conformance costs, rework, project overruns, and legal claims. In this context, operational excellence is not just a buzzword, it's a survival mechanism. A lack of operational discipline represents a significant liability and reputation crisis. By embedding rigorous standards through structured learning, Arup aims to mitigate these risks systematically. From the financial perspective on our strategy map, reducing these non-conformance costs is just as vital to the bottom line as winning new bids directly, protecting both the firm's margins and its global standing. The driver of our execution premium as reviewed. Let's take takeaway number 3: the Project Lifecycle Academy, a tiered mastery model. As a generation of deep technical experts approaches retirement, Arup is moving away from a reliance on informal mentoring, which can be good, but also inconsistent and slow. Instead, they have instituted a Project Lifecycle Academy, a structured progressive pathway mapped to capability frameworks. This ensures that learning informs talent reviews and succession planning, turning the curriculum into strategic talent management tool. 3 pillars: graduate early career, foundation in project excellence, focuses on risks management fundamentals, quality assurance, and project controls. Project manager, leading successful projects, which Arup is just knows how to do it, focuses on commercial management, contract awareness, and leading multidisciplinary teams. Senior PM, project director, strategic leadership, and commercial acumen, focuses on strategic decision-making, client relationship management, and navigating complex stakeholder environments. As reviewed by the architecture of execution, the L&D engine powers the entire system. If the foundation doesn't turn, the financial premium just stops. So let's review takeaway number 4. Why learning transfer is a real ROI battleground. As we can see in our diagnostic engine, data-driven performance consulting. The greatest waste in corporate training is the transfer gap, the failure to apply classroom knowledge. I know it because I'm a lecturer, also business lecturer and a consultant, to our real-world work. Arup strategy operates on the principle that without transfer, learning is merely a cost. To ensure technical relevance, Arup employs an SME co-facilitation model, where internal subject matter experts lead workshops alongside L&D professionals, that's me, to bridge the gap to the job site. Arup utilizes 4 specific strategies: manager involvement. Managers conduct pre-training goal setting and post-training check-ins to address barriers to application. Action learning projects. Participants are assigned LEAP project tasks to apply new skills to actual Arup projects immediately. Peer learning groups, which I also know about it. Cohorts solve real-world challenges collectively long after the formal program ends. Digital performance support, just-in-time tools including checklists and micro-learning videos are embedded directly into the workflow for immediate application. As we are reviewing, target high ROI interventions, moving from order taking to treating every learning request as a business problem to be solved. Let's review measuring what matters beyond the survey. Arup utilizes the Kirkpatrick-Felix model to move beyond level 1 reaction and reach level 5 return on investment, as we have been reviewing. To do this, the firm employs data triangulation, pulling evidence from project postmortems, risk registers, and quality audit findings rather than relying on simple participant surveys. This rigorous approach from Arup allows the firm to track hard business metrics like bid-win rates, measuring if commercial training results in more successful work winning, project profit margins, analyzing if better planning leads to higher profitability, non-conformance costs, tracking the decline in rework and professional errors, while isolating the financial impact of training is complex. Arup reviews it as a necessity to prove value, to execute stakeholders as the basis for strategic execution and performance management, and ensure learning and development engine is delivering a true financial return. So I will be pointing out throughout the paper that you can review. It is attached as the cover letter. You can go in depth through the specifics as reviewed here in our slide. a project lifecycle academy, architecting capability from graduate, project manager, senior PM, or project director. So this is the delivery ecosystem, scalable and integrated. Arup's three-year strategy culminating in 2026 aims to evolve the firm's culture into a culture of curiosity through phased rollout, moving from discovery and data-driven assessment to global implementation. Arup is embedded and embedding standards of excellence like the execution premium framework into the fabric of daily operations to develop competitive advantage. By the end of this journey, our goal is just clear: a workforce equipped to lead and execute flawlessly in an increasingly competitive market. This raises a fundamental question for any modern leader living in today's competitive and chaos world of geopolitical confrontations. Does your organization view learning as a discretionary expense to be cut, or as a fundamental engine of your project success? So this, please take a look to our introductory video so you can get more context of the lengths of this project. And I hope that you feel interest in my approach. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, just send them right away. I will be glad to assist as a L&D and execution premium professional. So said this, thank you for taking your time for reviewing this introductory approach to Arup's three-year L&D and execution premium framework. This was Victor Romo, strategic consultant, business lecturer. I will be glad to assist. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.